Hi everyone, it's Donna from Lots of Versafine Paper Crafts, and I am thrilled to be bringing you my first design team project for MayMay at MayMayMade.com. I'm going to be using some of her stamp sets today to create a set of 4x4 cards and so a nice hand decorated box to put them in. So the stamp sets that I'm going to be using are wings. I'm going to be using the butterfly from there, and I'm going to be using the chin up set for the sentiments. So I'm going to make these cards as a gift for a friend of mine who is going through a bit of a tough time at the moment. So I'm making these cards for her just to let her know that I'm thinking of her. So they're going to be 4x4 cards. So the bases are cut at 8x4 and scored in the middle at 4 inches to make the 4x4 cards. And then what I've got is 4 pieces of watercolour cardstock. I have tried this with normal cardstock and it still works, but you've just got to be really careful because we're going to be using the distress oxide inks and some water to make the backgrounds for our cards, so you just need to be a bit careful when using regular cardstock. If it's a good thick heavyweight cardstock and you don't wet it too much, it's absolutely fine, but I've got watercolour cardstock for the purposes of the video excuse me, because I don't want to start on normal cardstock and then have the cardstock ruin halfway through the video. So to play it safe, I just thought I would use watercolour cardstock, and these pieces are cut at 3 7/8 by 3 7/8, so that when we mount them onto the card bases they'll have a nice 1/8 of an inch border. It doesn't matter what watercolour paper you use. This is Tim Holtz Distress watercolour cardstock, but you can use any watercolour for this technique. Okay, so as I said, I'm going to be using the Distress Oxide inks. So I've got 4 of my favourite colours. I've got Wilted Violet, Cracked Pistachio, Worn Lipstick and Broken China. And I've also got, this is just a plastic page protector that I'm going to be using to do the smushing, technical term now, smushing technique on the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this down flat. I'm also going to use a water sprayer as well. So to create the backgrounds for these cards, I'm going to be taking these colours one at a time. Whoops. And I'm going to be pressing them in on this page protector. And then I'm going to spray some water. And then I'm just going to get some kitchen towel ready. And then I'm going to take the cardstock. Now I'm not going to use the, I don't know if you could see that, but the like the raised side, I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use the flat side. Okay, so it's the smooth side. And I'm just going to drag that through the ink there. Tap off the excess. And just keep dragging it through until I'm happy with it. So I'm now going to tap off the excess, let that drip on to the kitchen towel, and then I'm just going to press it in and lift it off just to give it a bit of a nice sort of effect. It picks up the pattern of the kitchen towel just ever so slightly. So I'm going to leave that to dry to one side, and then I'm going to clean my page protector, and then I'm going to go in with the next colour. So I'm going to take some Broken China and just press that down. Again, a few sprays of water, smooth side of the watercolour cardstock, and just drag it. And it just creates a really, really nice sort of pattern. So drag it through until, just get some more kitchen roll, should have got all my pieces out ready, shouldn't I? Until you are happy with your background, and then just press it and lift it, and then you get that really sweet little almost like a watermark pattern in there. So I'm going to leave that to one side. Again, clean my page protector, and then I'm going to use next Wilted Violet, and we're going to do exactly the same thing with all of these Oxide inks, and they have the same properties as Distress ink because they do react with water. And you can buy these Distress inks at MayMay.com. Oh, I love that colour, gorgeous. And then on this side, so I'm just going to pop the kitchen towel down, press it in and pick it up. There we go. So I'm going to clean this off, and then we're going to do one more, and that's going to be the cracked pistachio. So again, spray some water, the smooth side of the watercolour piece, and drag that through. And again, you just drag it, keep dragging it through until you're happy with your effect. Okay, so then again, kitchen towel, press and lift. Okay, so again, clean this off, and then we can put this to one side. So I'm just going to run over these backgrounds with the heat tool before we do our stamping, and I'll be right back. So here's all four of our coloured pieces. So what we're going to do is just take one at a time, and then we're going to take the butterfly from the wing stamp set. Now I've layered this up one on top of the other, and I've double layered the stamp so I can stamp the solid image and then I can stamp the patterned image on top. So we're going to leave a section for the sentiment. Just going to bring in the back side of this again, because I want to stamp some on and some off. Now you're going to use exactly the same colour of Oxide inks as you used on the background, because this is now a diluted colour of this Wilted Violet. So once you stamp on this, the colour becomes more intense again. So we're going to take the solid butterfly image, and we're just going to stamp it on the cardstock. And you see how it's a lot more of an intense colour now. So we're going to do the same thing all over. Stamp some off and some on. Remember, we want to keep this bottom section for our sentiment. And then let's do a little bit there. And fit one in there. Okay, so I'm just going to get the kitchen towel again just to wipe that off, and then I've got a mat here just to dry, clean my stamp off. Okay, so I'm going to put the lid on that now, and then I'm going to bring in Versafine, because I really want the outside of this butterfly to pop, and I think using black will make it do that. So I've got to try and get in over it now, and hopefully I'm centered. It doesn't matter if not. See, it doesn't even matter, look, it gives it a really lovely effect, almost like a watercolor effect, like you've painted it. so it doesn't matter if your outlines don't match the inside. And then just this last one, which we had going that way. Okay, so let's clean that off. And then I'm going to take a sentiment from the Chin Up set, and I like this You Got This one. So I'm going to use that. I'm just going to get another stamp block. These round stamp blocks, by the way, are also available from MayMay.com. And then again, I'm just going to stamp this with Versafine. This is the best ink to use for sentiments, hands down. I think it's brilliant. And then we're just going to stamp that in the bottom right corner, and then we'll mount that to our card base, and that's one card done. And we're going to do the same with all the others. So I'm going to do that off camera and then come back to you, and then we're going to make the box. Okay guys, I'm back. It's actually the next day. I didn't get round to finishing everything, so it's a different day here for me. It'll be seconds for you. But I just want to apologise because I've got the windows open and I'm not far from a main road, so you can hear lots of traffic, so I do apologise for that. Okay, so we got to where we mounted our cards. So I've mounted them onto a black card base, and I've put in a little square of white cardstock, and I've also put this little stitched swirl in there, and that is from another MayMay Made It stamp set. This is from the Bee's Knees, so it's this little stitched sort of trail there. So I've just put that on the inside, and I've give all the cards a coordinating colour envelope as well. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is make the box to go with our cards. So the first thing we need are 2 sheets of cardstock. Now the base of mine is going to be black and the lid is going to be white. So the base of the cardstock, you need a piece that measures 8 1/4 by 8 1/4. Okay, that's your base piece. And then you need the lid piece, and the lid piece measures 7 by 7. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to create the pattern on our lid. So I'm going to use just a bit of scrap paper here for stamping, and I'm going to use the same Oxide inks that we've been using, so the Broken China, the Worn Lipstick, the Cracked Pistachio and the Wilted Violet, and I am going to stamp some butterflies over this piece and decorate it ready to turn into the lid of our box. Okay guys, so that's our butterfly stamped, but I want to fill in some of the areas. It still looks quite sparse in some of the white areas, so I'm going to use this little heart from another stamp set called It's in the Mail, and I'm just going to fill in using the same colours with this little heart stamp. So that's all the stamping that we need to do. So this is going to become the lid to our box. So I'm going to put this to one side to dry, make sure everything's dry before we start building the lid. So we're going to work on building the base. So the base, as we say, measures 8 1/4 by 8 1/4, and then you score this at 1 3/4 inches on all 4 sides. Okay, and it should just fit within your if you've got one of these little Martha Stewart scoreboards, it just fits. So 1 3/4 of an inch on each side. And if you're not too sure, the 1 3/4 is 2 lines before the 2-inch mark. If you've got this little scoreboard, you can see that there's a little dot there. That is your 1 3/4 mark. Okay, so we'll put the scoreboard to one side. We'll need that again in a minute. So then we're going to fold and burnish our score lines. And then we're going to need some scissors to make some cuts. Now if you hold your piece like this, you'll see that each corner has a square, okay, and the score line on that square we're going to cut up. So we're going to cut along that score line right up to the one that goes horizontal, okay, and then we're just going to notch a piece out there. And I'm just wondering if we need to notch a piece out. No, we don't need to notch a piece out on the top. So then you rotate it clockwise once and do the same thing. So you'll cut up that score line to that first line there and notch a section out, okay, and rotate it clockwise again and do exactly the same thing. Oops, I went a bit too far there, but you're not going to see it. Rotate it for the final time and do the same thing and notch a little piece out there. Okay, so let's get rid of that. So what we'll do is we'll build up the base of our box, and then we'll come to our lid. So I'm going to use some art glitter glue for my box, and I'm just going to put a bit on all 4 corners. I love this glue. It dries really quick and holds so well. So we're going to just fold these sections over like this, and we're just going to press down. So we want this lined up here, and then we're going to go to the next one. So we're going to fold that bit in and press that together. So you're putting the glue on the 4 little flaps that you've made, okay, and then the last 2. So we're going to go around. This glue also dries clear, so don't worry too much about that. And then the last one. Okay, so this is the base for our box. You don't have to do it in this colour, it just depends on, you know, however you want to do it really. And you can see that everything fits in really well. I'll just put the envelopes at the bottom and then the cards on the top. Oops. So everything fits in really nicely there, and also is a bit of room if you wanted to pop a little pen in there or pencil. If not, this is a great size still. You could put some little sweets or something in there, little treats or something. So that's the base. Now we come to do the lid. Okay, so as we've said, the lid measures 7 by 7. And I'm going to turn it over to score it. So we need to do some scoring on this one. We need to score this one at 1 inch on all 4 sides. Okay, so we're just going to score at 1 inch, then rotate, then oops, that's 1/2 inch, that's no good, 1 inch, 1 inch, and oops, and 1 inch. So not half, 1 inch. Okay, so we can put our scoreboard away because we're done with that now. And just like the base, we're going to fold and we're going to burnish on our score lines. Okay, and then we're going to do exactly the same as we did with the base. So we're going to cut up along the score line and we're going to notch a small piece out. Okay, then we're going to rotate it clockwise and do the same thing up to that horizontal line and snip a little bit out. Again, up to that horizontal line and snip a little bit out. And the final one, so you rotate it again clockwise and you snip a little bit out of there. Okay, so that's our lid. So again, we're going to come in with the art glitter glue. So we're just going to pop some, I'm just going to do 2 sides first. So again, we're just going to fold these bits in and round, and they're going to fold up just like the base of our box, and this is going to give us the lid. So I'm going to pinch that down for a minute and do the same with this one. This glue really is amazing, guys. It's if you haven't got any, I suggest you head over definitely and grab some from MayMay.com. And then I'm going to pop some more on here. And then on the last one, I'm going to get that folded in first to do that. And then we're just going to close up the last one as well. Alright, let's just put the lid on that. Okay, so we'll bring in our box and then we'll bring in our lid. And there we go, we've got a really, really cute little gift box to give to somebody as a little gift, some cards. You know, to say that there is plenty of room in here for little extra things, and if you wanted to, you could tie a nice ribbon underneath, so you could put a little bit of score tape, stick your ribbon down and pull it up and round and tie it. I'm not sure if I've got any ribbon handy actually. Yes I do, I've got some handy here. What have we got? Well, I've got some of this blue ribbon. Let's see how much of this we're going to need, just to tie it in a nice bow, although I have been known not to be able to do bows on camera. For some reason, whenever you're on camera doing them, they're a nightmare. Is it just me? Okay, so you can actually, we'll do it this way. You know how you like wrap up your Christmas gifts? So you go across the top like that, flip it, and then you want to cross it over, so you've got a little cross on the back, and bring it up and we can tie it on the top, so you can add a little tag there. Oh, this bow is awful. Well, you have to keep fiddling with it to get a nice bow. That one will do just for now. And then you just snip off. I've got quite a lot of excess, but that's fine. You just snip off the excess, and there is your cute little cards in a box. So thank you so much, guys, for joining me on my first design team project for MayMay.com. All the links that you'll need are going to be in the info bar. All the measurements and everything will also be on the blog, so do go over and check all that out. Yeah, so all the stamp sets that you've seen me use, the ink, That's all available from MayMayMadeIt.com, as well as the art glitter glue. So do pop over and check that out, and have a great day, guys. Thanks so much. Lots of love. Bye for now.